Hello, people. If you can hear me. Really hoping that our stream is better today. Again, it's just me here, direct plugged. No storms going on, so there's no reason why we should have a hard time. But if the buffering gets bad again like it did last week, I'll just quit early. Because there's no sense in just staying on there when people can't stay on and listen and all that. So as usual, I like to just come on early and chat for a bit. Wait for people. It gives people time to come in because the notifications get out right away. So hopefully my chat is okay. There we go. Hello, bandana lady. Good to see you. Okay. So as you can see, I'll be talking about Nettle today a little bit and some of how I've been using it. See, now that's just funny. I went from totally green to totally red. So I'm guessing you'll be experiencing some buffering. We'll see what happens. It was funny because when people were complaining about the buffering last week, I was showing totally green on my end. So I never know what to expect. So hello, Deborah and Wallace Lake, Wendy Benjamin, Southern Arc. Southern Arc, every time I see your little icon, I think it's an eyeball at first. I wonder if I'm the only one. It looks like an eyeball. Hi, Tara. Okay, so yeah, it's showing low output. It was green for a minute, and now it's red. I have no idea what's going on. We've been getting good internet for the most part, but lately, every time, the last 2 times going on, it seems like it's been worse than usual. So, hi Patrick. Let me know if it seems worse or as bad as it was last week, or it's going back and forth from red to green. There's no in between today. It's not even yellow. It's just green, then red. Green, then red. Hi Texas boys. And I wear aprons. Aprons. Goodness, I can't even say aprons today. I want to show you guys something, and maybe you can help me. I'm putting this picture up. Okay. I should know what this is. It's been growing next to my front door since we moved into this place back in 1990. But this is the first year. Okay, let me take that back. I've seen flowers on it before, but usually it just gets 1 or 2. But this year it is full of these rose-like looking flowers. Now I'm thinking it is a type of hedge, and it seems related to a laurel. Maybe it is a laurel. I don't know. I've got a whole hedge of laurel in the backyard all the way across, and I've never seen it get flowers like this. So hi Claire and Bullet Bow and Carol and Corinne or Corrine. I'm guessing it's Corinne. Okay, I don't think I'm seeing all my chat. Oh, here we go. Half my chat was hidden. I'm sorry, people. And let's see, Kathleen and Danny's off-grid flat. Hey, buddy. My Scottish friend. I'm assuming you're Scottish. You look Scottish to me. My adopted father was Scottish, and so I'm very partial to Scottish. He loved Burl Ives. It doesn't have a scent at all. Okay, hi Lark's Garden. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I knew it by not just the accent, it was your facial structure, Danny. So, I don't recall if I ever heard you actually say Scottish. Well, I guess I did hear you say Celtic at one point, so that makes sense. Okay, I use Nettle daily in a tea blend of dandelion root, dandelion leaves. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Nettle tea, drinking it daily, apparently, especially this time of year, helps with allergies. But I want to get into that later. Make sure everybody's in here. But yeah, it's a how do you say that? Camellia? Camellia? So oh, you guys crack me up. Hi Cliffy and Kim. Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to, for those new coming in, I'm just trying to figure out what this hedge type thing is. And if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you'll have seen it in my garden videos when I'm walking around. And yeah, and it just got full of flowers. I mean, okay, let's see, we've been married for 27 years. So yeah, we've lived in this house for 27 years. This shrub has been here the whole time. First year I've ever seen it look like that. Maybe it's all the horse manure I threw at the base of it. Of course, I pruned it back quite a bit, but that's not the first time I've ever hacked it back that far. So maybe the combination of the good, just giving it a good pruning and then throwing all that horse manure down there was enough for it to just go berserk with flowers. But it's very pretty. I love the flowers. Peony. Okay. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's just like so cool to walk out my front door and like, whoa, look, I've got color there, especially when there's, I mean, my rhododendrons and azaleas haven't even flowered yet. This is how far behind. Of course, you guys don't live where I live, so you may not know. I mean, maybe for you, it's, or you know, this is when they don't start flowering yet, or maybe they start flowering months ago. I don't know, but normally they would be losing their flowers by now because they would have already been in full bloom. But no, and it's not just me, it's everybody. Just like the grapevines. The grapevines last year were full of leaves, and we're already getting little clusters of grape buds all over it at this time of the year. And now I still don't have any leaves. The buds are there and they're getting ready to open up. They're really, really close. But man, this is the latest spring, at least that I know of, since I've been serious into gardening. Pennies. Okay. Hi, Levon. Is there anybody else that came in I haven't said hi to? Hi, Bee Lady. Okay, the flowers are about, I would say they probably fill up the palm of my little hand. So maybe about 2 inches tops across. So, okay, I'm sipping tea here, so if you hear that sound, that's just me sipping my tea, and the dogs are chewing on some beef ears I gave them to hopefully keep them quiet for this time. I'm hoping it'll work. And I have my squirt bottle handy. So anyway, it's just beautiful. Since nothing else is blooming out there out front. I mean, not even my azalea or my rhododendrons. I just can't believe it, how late it is. I did buy a couple more really vibrant colored Johnny Jump Ups and plant them out there just so I could have some color out there right now. It's crazy. But, you know, I can look at all the neighbors and none of their stuff is blooming either. It's just very, very, there's like a really thick, over at there's a community, well, it's not a community garden anymore. They finally just basically dismantled it. But the one thing that's left are the grapevines. Just thick, big thing of grapevines. And they're not blooming either. You know, they have no leaves on them yet either. But the buds are coming on. Just very slow. At least my herbs are taken off now. My oh, darn, I just forgot the name. My golden oregano is really looking beautiful. It's been getting enough sun that it's turning that nice lime green color. It's the only herb that I know of offhand that when it turns brighter, lighter green when it gets full sun. But if it doesn't get enough sun, it turns dark green. So it's opposite of other things. But it's just beautiful. It makes this beautiful carpet. Okay, Texas boys on the goji berry. My first thought was going with an acidic type fertilizer like chicken manure and things like in blood meal. Well, come to find out, because most of your berries like an acidic soil. But when I got to looking into it further, they like a little bit sweeter soil, maybe even somewhere in the middle. I don't know if there might be someone in here that could answer that question better, because I haven't looked real good. But I would say coffee grounds. Coffee grounds are rather neutral, in my opinion. You could probably put coffee grounds on them and they'd be pretty good. I'm already starting to have a major problem with slugs. I know that's total off of that, but it just reminded me of some of the issues I'm having to deal with. Is the slugs are starting to come out in full force now. And typically I don't have a problem in my, excuse me, yeah, they are slow growing. I don't typically have a problem in my greenhouse, but that's what they're hitting the most. They've been attacking my spaghetti squash starts and my zucchini, little boogers. So I finally had to move the planters that I've got them growing in up onto a shelf, and hoping that will help. I tried putting eggshells, because they don't really like crawling over eggshells, because it cuts up the little soft parts of their body. Well, they're all body soft parts. Duh. But anyway, I guess I can take the pictures off now and put my camera on so you can see me. And I did cinnamon. Cinnamon helps. I'm sorry, I'm very kind of congested in the throat already today. Where is my camera? Sorry. There. Here we go. Here we go. All right, you should see me now. Hello. Diatomaceous earth, cinnamon, and the eggshells all over them, and they're still chowing down on them. I'm telling you guys, mutant ninja slugs here. They will, yeah, they go through everything and anything. So there's just not much you can do. So I need to try to remember to get out there, maybe go out there in the middle of the night or something with a flashlight, and then just get a hold of them and kill them. Because usually the ones that get into this greenhouse just live in there somewhere. And it hasn't been hot enough yet to keep them out of the greenhouse. Obviously, when it gets hot enough, they don't like it in there. Excuse me. I made myself some marshmallow root, leaf, and pansy tea, hoping it will help keep my vocal cords from swelling up today, but it looks like I'm not off to a good start already. So okay, sprayed 10 feet of poison ivy stockade fencing, salt, vinegar. Okay, yeah, and that's right, Bandana Grandma. I thank you for reminding me of that. I actually have a mixture out there of, well, I don't think rhubarb leaf kills slugs. It does kill other bugs, but it's a tea of rhubarb leaf, some neem oil, a little bit of Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. And I forgot, I was going to spray that on my plants and see if that worked, because that seems to work really good, but I can't remember how well it works on the slugs. So the slugs don't necessarily get huge out here. I mean, they probably get at their biggest, maybe like that. I think probably out in the wooded areas they get much bigger, but like as far as on the property, the biggest they get is about like that. So maybe 5 inches ish. But it's mostly just those little tiny ones. They're just the little baby ones. They're the worst. So, though, I tell you, I think I told the story about the rat trap. We set up a rat trap, and we didn't catch a rat, but we caught a slug that big in it. It's like, wow, rat trap, caught a slug. So, but yeah, if you don't know that about rhubarb leaves are a good pesticide. But obviously not for all bugs, because there's some kind of bug that likes to get in there and eat my rhubarb leaves. But it's never bad enough for it to affect the plant and how well it's growing. So, and my rhubarb looks beautiful. It still just gets me that it is its happiest in complete 100% shade. does not like one bit of direct sunlight. So, you know, and I was raised, you know, that rhubarb needs full sun, not this rhubarb. Can you find their eggs or nests and destroy them? Yeah, I got to figure out. I think they're just kind of scattered all through. So I'm so excited about having chickens because I'm looking forward to being able to, in the winter, let them free range out in all the garden areas and let them into the greenhouse and get in there and get all the slug eggs. Because from what I understand, they will eat slug eggs. Oh, see, now that's funny that you think that slugs, you didn't know slugs that got that big, because I'm thinking they're not even that huge, because slugs can get, I think some slugs in some places can, like in rainforests and stuff, can get up to a foot. I may be exaggerating, but I typically tend to under-exaggerate rather than over-exaggerate. But, you know, think about your banana slugs. Those get huge. But we have like two different varieties of slugs. There's like one that's a light colored one and one that's darker, and apparently they're territorial. And someone recently told me, someone that lives around here, if you have a certain kind of slug in your garden, I can't remember which one it is, then because they're territorial, they're more apt to keep the other more devastating slugs away. But I don't remember which is which. So but yeah, I just find through, you know, I've had people throw so many natural ideas to get rid of slugs, and you know, I say it every time. The beer, I mean, you know, the beer method, the diatomaceous earth on the soil, anything that you put on the soil or put in a dish is not going to work because we get way too much rain. And I even tried putting beer in a container, leaving it sideways so that the beer would be in there and the rain wouldn't wash it away. I got a couple of slugs, but for the most part, yeah, it's just it's yeah. The only real way around here that I know of that works is to go out there either middle of the night or bright early in the morning, which is my favorite time to do it. And while the ground is still wet and it's not hot enough for them to go hide, and just start picking them. And I got over, like, one day, there was a couple days there where I, just in the morning, like over 200 slugs I picked off my plants. It's crazy. No, we have not finished the chicken house. Okay, so if you saw the video that I put up, I think on Monday, about getting our chicks, that was filmed on Saturday. And Patrick had it was filmed on Friday. So he had done the 1/3 of the floor, and then was going to come back and do the other third later that day, but something came up and he had to leave. He had to run into town with our boy, and so he was not able to get to that other third. And oh no, it was Saturday. And so it's still only the 1/3 is done. Hopefully this weekend it'll be dry enough that he can get out there and finish the other 2/3. I'm hoping and praying. And then he went and bought some tiles, some just cheap tiles that he wants to lay down on top of that. I'm telling you, this is going to be a chicken mansion, but we got to get busy because these chickens, I cannot believe how fast they're growing. They're already starting to get their little tail feathers and their wing feathers. Every day I go in there and I'm like, no kidding, they're getting bigger and bigger every day. So it's just like, wow. Yeah, I'm not, I have to start small, bee lady. I don't want to take too much on my plate. Remember, currently we're just on a 1/3 acre, and we're trying to see what's going to work here first before we take on too much. You know, like we've considered, you know, the dwarf goats and down the road, and possibly ducks, because ducks I know will eat slugs, but right now I don't have a place to do slugs and chickens. I just are slugs. I have a place for slugs, apparently. It's slug paradise here. But I mean, I don't have a place for ducks and chickens. Both at this time. You know, bee lady, I didn't even know anything about medicated feed until I was trying to look up if I could feed my chicks something other than the chick starter. I grabbed it because it was one of those, okay, let's go ahead and get the chicks today, blah, 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 and I wasn't ready for it. It's like, okay, I guess I better get chick starter, and I didn't know anything about it. So I got a small bag, and what I'm trying to do is, and I don't know about the medicated feed. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I haven't had a chance to look into it. My thinking is just like with anything else. What do chickens eat in nature? So when a baby chick is born, the mother chick doesn't like give it chick starter. Hello? So that would tell me that there's other things that are better for the chick to eat than chick starter that you buy at the store. But hey, I could be wrong, but it just kind of goes back to that way of thinking. Again, I grabbed it because I wasn't sure what I had at home that I could feed them. Now, I did today, this morning, not too long ago, give them some some sprouts that I had, and they devoured them. So, and they just look happy and healthy and energetic, and yeah, so I did have to move their light up though. It looked like they were starting to get too warm because their little beaks were open a lot more, and I noticed they were huddling away from the light. So I got something and propped it up higher. So I'm like, it must be getting too warm for them in there. I tried putting in a lower watt bulb, but then they started huddling under the light. So it's like, okay, I put the heat lamp back in there and then propped it up higher, and they seem happy last I checked on them. So. But yeah, for now we're keeping them on a table, in the X dance room, martial arts room, because we have pocket doors where I can keep the dogs out of there. Now I do take the dogs in, and I don't know if anyone can give me some ideas on the best way for this, but I've just been doing it, and I take them in, I lift them up, I show them the chicks, and they get all excited. And at first they were just shaking and licking their chops, and I'm like, that doesn't look good. And I'm like, no, not food. But now they just like to get up and look at them, and I don't see them get as excited. They don't shake so much, but they do like to look at them. And I've even gone so far as to, take the little baby chick into my hand and kneel down and let them sniff, so that the chick, nothing but the little head's just kind of barely sticking out. And they just sniff, but if their eyes start to dilate and they look like they want to eat it, then I say no. So I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I'm sure somebody might have an idea, but I'm hoping that if they're constantly shown the chicks and constantly reminded that they're not food and don't bite and leave it and all that kind of stuff, that they will kind of understand that they are their sisters. Assuming they're all females, of course. A feather duster. Oh, great idea, Southern Arc. I like that. Okay, so let me catch up on comments here because I've been kind of asking some questions and I might be getting some good answers here. Okay, of course, if I try to scroll up, I'm probably going to have my chat disappear. Nice, Wallace Lake. See, I'm so excited. I have no idea. I'm thinking probably by the time they're old enough to start laying eggs, it'll probably be the time, maybe I'm wrong, it'll probably be the time they start slowing down in their egg layings. But we did get the Buff Orpingtons. I don't know if I said that. Because somebody asked, and that was why we jumped on it, because Pat was, well, we both were really leaning more and more towards the Buff Orpingtons for here. Just everything we'd read and heard about it and how hardy they seemed and being good egg layers and being good meat birds too. So if the time comes, we need to use them for meat, that just sounded like the best choice for us. Well, so what happened was I was running back and forth getting the concrete. So I went down and got one batch, and then so he could start working on that, and then took the other truck and went and got another batch of concrete, and they would bring that in, and that's how I was doing it. Well, I was down there the first time, I looked in there, I'm like, oh, you have Buff Orpington chicks at the nursery. They have ducks and they have a couple of different types of chickens in there. And they like, yeah. And I said, and but a dozen of them were sold, but we only wanted like 5 or 6 tops. So I got 7. I could have went ahead and got 8 because I want to make sure that most of them at least are hens. They are pullets, so you know what they say, 90% chance they're all going to be female. Anyway, we'll see. So I came back from the first trip and told Patrick, and so and he goes, "Oh, really? Well, maybe we should, you know, they have those. Maybe we should go ahead and get them." We were going to wait a little bit longer. That's why we weren't quite ready. And so I went back, got another load of concrete, came back, and then he said, "Yeah, let's go ahead and do that." So I went back and got more concrete and said, "Okay, I'm going to buy the chicks to give a light." I seen they had the little feeders, but I'm like, no, I know we can come up with something. Even though those are cheap, I know that we can come up with something on our own. So that's what we did. And I do have that video. I'll probably put it up tomorrow of how we made that cute little cardboard, excuse me, chick feeder. And, you know, it was cheap and worked great. I mean, the plastic's cheap too, but this is cheaper yet. So, and it was easy. Okay, so do you have a plan for winter snow with your chickens? That's my worry when we get ours. They're going to be fine. He's going to have this chicken coop pretty darn set up. And from what I understand, chickens do not need a light in there during the winter months. And that buffs are pretty hardy. And let's see, we don't have harsh winters here. We really don't. So we're pretty moderate year round. Hi, Palmetto. And let's see, did anybody else come in that I didn't say hi to? If so, I'm sorry and hello. Okay, so we're officially way into the hour, but okay. So chickens was one of my topics though, so we're talking about chickens. So okay, let me read some comments. Let's see, All right. Yeah, bee lady, it's probably not as something you would have to be as concerned about as you think, from what I understand. Because I was watching, let's see, Appalachia's Homestead, and she was talking about it. Amy Fuel was talking about the light issue and keeping them warm. Hi, T. And it really sounds to me that from what they say, it's really not necessary with the whole light thing. And of course, it's going to depend on the type of chickens you get. So I'm new to this, people. I'm definitely not an experienced chick person. But it's exciting. Though we did have, years and years ago, before we had our kids, we had a couple of bantams. We had, you know, a male and a female, and we get little eggs, but they were so small and so simple, it was no big deal. But the place that we kept them at the time is now used for something else. And but they did good. I mean, they were, you know, but they're just not the friendliest bird. I know that. The rooster was always trying to come at me if I wasn't looking. So, little booger. Okay, so anyway, I didn't know if there was anything else more I wanted to say on the chickens. It seemed like I had more questions that I wanted to ask you guys about the chickens. I know I put it out there on my Facebook what people's thoughts were on giving chicks something other than feed that you buy at the store. So, you know, like, I'd like to know in particular, I've got all kinds of seed around here. And I thought, well, if I soak the seed, give them some seed, but what seed? Is there any seed that they shouldn't have? To me, it almost seems like chickens can eat anything. And what about greens? Can I give them some kale or, you know, whatever other greens herbs that I have growing? Is that going to be safe? I can look it up, but grub worms. Yeah, and I'm sure I can go dig some of those up. Yeah, the chicken manure and garden. Yeah, the compost tea or the chicken manure tea is really good. I've used that on my berries. Really good for the berries. I would say the reason duck eggs are better for baking is because they are richer and creamier than chicken eggs. Yes, and I've used duck eggs for baking, and they do an excellent job. Mr. Rain does not care for the taste and texture, I guess, of duck eggs, and which is funny because to me, I've had hard boiled duck egg before, and I didn't, other than the size, I didn't notice a difference, but that's just me. Now I notice a difference in the duck meat, and I wouldn't say I'm crazy about duck meat. It's okay. Um, do I use maggot buckets? No. Not a bad idea, though. That would be a good idea for making grubs and slugs. Awesome. Okay, sorry people that are watching this later. I have to stop and read the comments every now and then, so forgive me for the pauses and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like from what I'm seeing here, see today my stream is showing as red, but I don't see anybody complaining right now buffering, so I'm guessing it's doing good. No, I'm not really, I haven't really been watching Justin Rhodes. I will look into that. I just have, I'm subscribed to so many doggone channels, and I try to occasionally pick, and I typically, people, this is how I am. Except for a couple of the rare bigger channels that I absolutely adore, I tend to go for smaller channels when I'm looking for information from people I'm subscribed to, or, you know, and I'll try to pick one a day to watch a video from. I'm just that way. And it's not that I don't support the bigger channels, because there's obviously, you know, a lot of you know that I'm definitely a homestead homie, and I love Doug and Stacy. I've been following them for a long time, and they've been just really encouraging and helpful to us, and they've really had our back in a lot of ways. So, you know, so they're one of the bigger channels I'll go to, and because I've always learned a lot from Stacy and Doug both along the way. But I'm buffering just a little here and there. Okay. And the buffering, thank you, Sammy. That the little here and there is what is normal for our, and thank you, Palmetto, for, you know, the kind of internet that we have. And I don't know, I still haven't heard anything more. When and if we're ever supposed to get that higher speed internet in our area, beginning to think it's never going to happen, but whatever. All right. Sorry. Let me see if I have, I thought I had a throat lozenge here just in case I need it. And for those of you who are new, this isn't allergies or anything like that. It is called Years Worth of Teaching Dance, Martial Arts, and Singing. And I've been in choirs and ensembles and solos since I was about 14. And my vocal cords have had a pretty rough beating over the past 30 something years. So I've got nodules, and I choose not to have them surgically removed because I think it's a waste of time. So I just live with them. However, the more I talk, they start to swell, and it causes me to constantly have to cough and clear my throat. So please pardon me. I don't even have Mr. Rain here on days like this to give me a break. Oh, and by the way, so I'm hoping, well, I say this every weekend, but I'm hoping this weekend that maybe Mr. Rain and I can finally be able to go live, to do a live show together. Again, on one hand, our weekends have just been really, really busy with, trying to get this chicken coop together and all the other projects, but there's just, and I've shared it before, I'm just not going into detail, but there's some other issues that we're dealing with that we're kind of throwing on our plate that we spend a lot of time on the weekends trying to work through. And so that's why you don't see or hear much from us on the weekends. And again, prayers are always appreciated. So we're just, we're facing some big decisions, and every week I think, okay, this is going to be the week, and then something kind of draws it out a little bit longer. So we'll see. Just praying for the Lord's guidance and His will to be done. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, hi Faye. Okay, thanks for stopping by and saying hi. And remember, this live show will be available Saturday morning. I like to spread it out that way. Oh, thank you, Bee Lady. T, you spoil me, T. Thank you. I like that you're trying to help. Yes, Quake Lake. That's kind of the thing is I'm trying to help give them that boost they need. And I don't want to say anything I don't want to say anything, I don't want it to come across wrong, but I the one thing about the smaller channels, and they have more time to be a little more interactive with you, and I want to try to stay that way myself as long as I can, but the problem is the more subscribers you get, the harder it is to continually interact with everyone, because obviously it takes up more and more and more time. So I do my best, but to answer questions, I think what I'm going to have to do eventually is just read through questions and then start doing, like in live shows, or even just do a recorded video of, okay, I'm going to answer these questions, like the ones that we get asked most and stuff like that. So you just get a promotion. Okay, cool. Cool. So anyway, sorry again, catching up here on what I'm missing as the chat's flying by. You guys are being great. By the way, thank you. Hello, Kathleen Hansen. Two Kathleens. Well, they're spelled different. I don't know if it's pronounced Kathleen, if I'm saying that right, and then Kathleen. Is that actually pronounced like three syllables? I've always wondered that, and I forget to ask. And Whitney, hello, Whitney. Thank you for coming in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get onto the topic of nettle. Now, I've grown nettle for a few years, and my purpose, the reason I started growing it was simply because when I was looking at taking ourselves off the thyroid medication, I was researching what could I grow, take, whatever, that's natural, that will counteract or that will help boost the thyroid gland, and so that we do not have to take synthetic drugs. And so nettle was one of the things I came across that was supposed to be very good for the thyroid gland. So I'm like, I'm growing nettle. Now, I know we could go out and harvest it, but I'm the kind of person that likes to have it right here on my own property if possible, except for the blackberries, because they're everywhere. I could just walk down the next block and pick blackberries if I wanted to. There's better places to go, but I can, and I have picked them just right over there. But so the nettle I'm growing, I planted it under a bedroom window, and it, because I figure several reasons why I did that. One is kind of out of the way. I'm less likely to be working around it and bumping into it and all that kind of stuff. But also I figured it makes kind of a mild form of self-defense under the bedroom window. Though, it's not going to bother you if you're wearing boots and clothes and you're fully covered, but you never know. I figured, hey. So that is why I started growing nettle. Now, I've only been learning a little bit more and a little bit more about it as I go. And the more I've learned, who was it? I don't know if it was Kat Ellis I was listening to on the Prepper Broadcasting show a couple of years ago or a year ago. I don't remember. And she was going on and on and on about nettle. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was that packed full of benefits. And so I've been trying to kind of pick at it, but that's my problem is it's like, oh, pick a little fact here, pick a little fact there. And again, the live shows like this help keep me kind of more accountable to learning everything there is to learn. So nettle is considered by some to be a superfood because there are so many health benefits. But I had read a while back that nettle, or maybe it was what I heard on Kat's show, is higher in protein per ounce than a chunk of meat. So very good source of protein, like your kale and stuff. But I think it might even be higher than kale. I'm not sure. So stinging nettle, yes. So the stuff that stings. And believe it or not, even the stuff that stings, so it has histamine, and I can't remember what the other chemical is in it, actually is also beneficial. So they used to use the nettle, they used to use it directly, topically, the sting, to help with arthritis. but it still is helpful for arthritis without having to go through the uncomfortableness of doing that. So let me, what I did is I went through a few of my herb books and I highlighted some things because I know it's kind of boring listening to people read. However, if I read this stuff, it keeps me on track. Otherwise, especially when I start reading the chat, I get off track and I don't get to all the facts out. Even in my recorded videos, I end up not saying all the things about stuff that I mean to say because I don't follow a script. Sometimes I need to at least sometimes take notes. So I just highlighted a few things. So this is from Kat Ellis's book. I have all these books linked below. The Prepper's Natural Medicine. And as far as price goes, this is a good one. You know, it's somewhat compact and it's easy to read. And I think it was like $8 for this book, something like that. So, and I got it on Amazon. So let me read a couple of paragraphs here. So, nettle is an overlooked superfood. While an exotic ingredient that exploits some native population in a far-flung corner of the globe is hyped as the latest and greatest find, we ignore one of the most nutritious plants growing almost everywhere in the United States. Figures, right? Right. So, okay, and here's my little side note. It seems to me that the things that grow most prolifically in your area, dandelion, nettle, plantain, are the things that have the most highest benefits as a food source and a medicinal use. So really, people, I mean, yes, I like the whole thing with the goji berries and the maca root and some of this other stuff, but I am still looking for ways to go as local as possible with what I'm doing, because eventually I want to phase out of all that other stuff. So if I can grow the ashwagandha myself, which I'm trying to do, then I'm going to do that. You know, it's just like the marshmallow. I'm growing it myself. I don't want to have to keep buying it from somewhere else. So anyway, moving on. Nettle is often used to relieve edema, so it's a diuretic, joint pain, and allergies. So again, there's the part with the, arthritis. However, the applications for nettle are far more than I can list here. So much of our health is tied to nutrition, and nettle is a nutritional treasure trove high in iron, calcium, potassium, and chlorophyll. There is an expanded, that's, let me move on here. I'm trying to skip through and just read some real key things. Nettle, specifically nettle root, has important benefits for men. Nettle root, best taken as a tincture for this issue, helps relieve prostate symptoms. And let's see. And nettle is known for supporting the kidneys and adrenal glands. Nettle seeds share these traits along with the leaves. Nettle seeds have an adaptogenic effect, bringing the body back into balance and instilling a sense of well-being. I mean, wow. Really? Wow. How great is that? Okay, so that was that book. Okay, let me see if could I grow it in a container? Tea, I believe you could. I believe you could. I would say maybe a bigger container, but it will spread. And it might be best to grow it in a container because it will spread. It self-seeds easily and it spreads through the root as well. So, under the soil. Like the stupid chokeweed that's growing. Oh man, the chokeweed's going to be, I think, 3 times bad this year. And by the way, if anybody has any ideas of how best to get rid of chokeweed, also known as bindweed, also falsely known as morning glory. It's the one with the white flowers, it's not a true morning glory. That stuff's so terrible and it's everywhere this year. So I'm just, okay. Okay, let me see if I've got any good questions okay. So I did have a section out of Rosemary Gladstar's book. Okay, the Beginner's Guide to Medicinal Herbs. Another one linked below. I think this might have been we have other herb books. This is one of the first ones I specifically bought though, thinking of medicinal herbs. So okay, so rich and full spectrum of vitamins and minerals, especially iron and calcium, nettle is an excellent tonic herb and is useful for growing pains in children, when their bones and joints ache, as well as for older folks with creaky joints. Its antihistamine properties make it an excellent remedy for allergies and hay fever. So it's funny that the thing that makes the sting, that, you know, that's the uncomfortable part, is part of what helps with, you know, your allergies and all that kind of stuff, you know, and the achy joints. Because of its nutritive properties and positive effects on the liver, nettle is also an excellent tonic for the reproductive system of both men and women. It is frequently included in formulas for PMS and other menstrual difficulties, fertility issues, and menopausal issues. That's good to know. And nettle seeds are used as both a preventative and curative for prostate issues. So I kind of obviously covered a couple of the same things again, but it's kind of good to hear it in another, a little bit different wording too. Okay, Heidi, did you see the post way above about a bucket for bugs maybe? Yeah, I saw somebody say that, and it is a good idea. Hang on, I need to go let the dogs out. That's what the bell is that you hear. Doggies, please stay out of the mud. Oh my gosh, I really need to get rid of the carpet in my living room when we have, you know, I was going to look up, by the way, how much rain we've been getting this spring, because I'm beginning to think, even though we get probably most of our rain we get in the spring and in the fall, but to me this seems like not only has it been the coldest spring that I can remember, I do think it might be the wettest. So I had to laugh when there was somebody that commented on my nettle video that I put out about my nettle looking like it needed moisture. I'm thinking, did you see the leaves on that thing? Moisture and nutrients. Do you see the leaves? Yeah, doesn't need moisture and nutrients. It's covered in horse manure, and when you get, you know, up to 160 inches of rain per year, I'm telling you, they don't need any more moisture. I had to laugh. So, and I had a lot of people saying, man, those leaves are huge. And yeah, they're big because we get a lot of moisture and they've got horse manure. They're happy. So, but it was just somebody that they didn't know. They don't know that we live in a very, 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 very wet area. So, and I've said it before, Seattle does not know what wet is. I know, I lived in Seattle for 2 years before I ended up here. So Seattle doesn't know. It's not wet in Seattle compared to here. So I'm saying 3 to 4 times more rain here than Seattle gets. So I think there was one more thing I wanted to read out of this book, The Energetics, and this one is volume 1. Let's see, I think. Okay, I just wanted to read through some more of the, basically, thank you, Tessie. Yeah, and no offense to my Seattle friends. I lived there for a couple years, and it was actually kind of a nice, I went from the other side of Washington State where they hardly get any rain, like 10 inches a year max, to moving to an area where they got 50 inches of rain-ish max, I think, to a place that got 3 times as much. So, yeah. So at least I was kind of like weaned into it. Okay, anyway, so let me just read the just some quick parts and then I'll finish up with this. So, and then I'll talk about how I'm currently using nettle and how I will be using nettle. So, nourishes the liver and the blood and relieves fatigue, regulates metabolism and strengthens the connective tissue, restores the gonads, adrenals, and thyroid, there we go, promotes lactation and benefits the hair. Yay! So, nourishes and strengthens the lungs, resolves phlegm, and relieves coughing and wheezing. I need to make some more nettle. I start making nettle tea. I think I'm going to start putting the nettle in my tea blend. Astringes, dries damp, and stops discharge and bleeding. Reduces infection. Promotes detoxification and resolves toxicosis and eczema. Dissolves deposits and stones. Reduces tumors. People, I'm telling you, this is some great stuff here. Your nettle. Don't be afraid of it, bandana grandma. Promotes urination, drains water, and relieves edema and irritation. So again, some of the same stuff again, a little bit different wording, because I think the more you can hear stuff in a little bit different wording and read it in a different way, it'll help kind of set it in your brain, help you remember. So, can you infuse nettle in oil? That's a really good idea, Tessie. I haven't looked that up, but I would say so. I would think, yeah, like I did with the calendula or the cayenne pepper. I don't see why not. Shoot, you could probably, in fact, you could probably add, that muscle rub. I think I'm going to do that. Next time I infuse my cayenne pepper oil, I'm going to add some dried nettle leaves to that and infuse that in there as well. And maybe I'll do the calendula in there as well, because it's all, yeah, it's all good. Okay, so I want to show you what I made for dinner last night. And I do have a video, but don't expect it till at least next week. Let's see here. I may have to turn the camera off in order for it to show. We'll see. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I made some homemade mac and cheese, and I love experimenting with macaroni and cheese. And I make it different every single time I make it. I do not stick to one way of doing it. And I will go over the details in the video, so you can watch the video when I come out with it. But the reason I brought this up is that you can see some of the green pieces in there. Well, the one closest to the front is probably a dried jalapeno. But yesterday I picked some fresh dandelion flower and nettle leaves, and then I sauteed them along with my onion and some other vegetables, mushrooms and stuff, in butter before making the sauce, the cheese sauce. And it turned out really good. And after Mr. Rain ate some, I said, hey, I put nettle and dandelion leaves in that. Did you notice? And he goes, no, I didn't. It was really good. So I'm trying to get, normally I throw into something like this, I'll throw in, well, there they go. I'll throw in my mixed greens blend, which has nettle in it and dandelion leaves. But instead of doing that this time, it's dehydrated blend. But instead of doing that, I decided I would use fresh and then just saute them. And it did turn out really good. Because I haven't done a lot of cooking with the nettle yet. And now that I'm starting to get more and more nettle, I want to not just dry a bunch of it. I want to start being able to use more of it fresh. So that was that. So let's see if I can get that to go away. Sometimes I have to click on these things a couple times. I'll try it again. Okay, it's not behaving. Now watch, it'll pop back up. I knew it! Okay. So learn to click once. Sometimes I'll click on it and I'll be like 5 seconds later, it's still showing. So hi, Minnie Steading. And we also have another Minnie. We have Minnie Georgian. You've probably been in here for a while and I'm just now seeing you. Sorry. So hello. Minnie Steading, I love the video you put out. I think it might have been yesterday you put it out. About the changes and what's going on, and I understand where you're coming from. At least I believe I do. We're in a place that we may be seeing some big change happening, and for now we're just trying to. We're going to keep work. The only difference is we're going to keep building on what we have right now, because we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we'll be here forever or if we'll finally get a piece of property. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and keep doing what we're doing. Just like with the chicken coop, Mr. Rain's fixing it up in such a way that it could also become a great parking garage for a motorcycle or lawnmowers and tillers and whatever. We have a tiller, but he's not allowed to till anymore. In fact, I want to just sell the thing to people that still believe in tilling. Because I don't do that anymore. It just takes up room. Okay. I know, he likes that tiller for some reason. He doesn't want to let go of it. Okay, now speaking of food, I'm going to show you a couple more food things, and I'm sorry if I'm making you hungry, but one is a video, another video coming out probably on Friday, and that is my almond fried chicken recipe. This is my own recipe. Um, one of our favorite things. I don't make it a lot, but yes. So anyway, I did make a video of it, and it's just kind of a little bit of my own. It's my own batter blend and my own gravy, and it's got almonds and all kinds of yummy stuff. So that's a video you get to look forward to. I think I'll put it up on Friday. Then the mac and cheese video I'll put up next week sometime. I try to do only one recipe video per week, and then I'm ahead by at least 2-3, well, at least 2 weeks ahead on my videos. But some videos may be 3 weeks to a month before I get them up. And then one more food one, and this is one that I already made a video of, and that was the cloudy day solar cooking. So we had some steelhead, and it was a cloudy day, and I thought it was going to be half cloud, half sun when I got started, but it ended up being like 90% cloud, and it was cold. Yet it still cooked my fish all the way through, and most of the vegetables, just not the carrots. I had a fire going, so I ended up moving the vegetables onto the wood stove to finish cooking them. They probably could have finished cooking in the solar oven had I had the time to just leave them in there for a couple more hours. But we decided we wanted an early dinner like we usually do on his days off. So, but then the other day I cooked, we were getting a lot of sun, and somebody gave us some salmon, and it was like fresh caught salmon. And I'm not a big salmon eater, but if it's fresh and it's cooked right, it is so good. So I threw that in the solar oven with some, potatoes, and I think it was potatoes, or sweet potatoes or potatoes. I don't remember which one. I think it was either yellow potatoes or sweet potatoes. And I usually just put a little butter. I don't even think I put butter on this because, it's pretty fatty anyway. So I just put a little bit of seasonings, not a whole lot, and oh my goodness, it was so good. It was so good. Solar oven is such a great way to bake because it does not dry your stuff out, and you don't have to add any liquid to it. It just doesn't dry it out. Well, unless you have the reflectors on and you live in a really hot place and it's in the sun all day, then it might, but I have not had any issues. So yes, I don't know if I have the link to the Solarvore solar oven under this particular video, but I'll try to add it in there, Bee Lady. That is the one I use. I actually have 2 of them now. And I've had, my old one I've had for like 6 years. And now I have a new one, and they're both, the old one still works great. So I'm just using the new one because, well, it's new. And I love it. I love it because I've got I have to have the reflectors where I live. But you might live in a place you don't need the reflector, so you can buy different kits. You can buy it with, hang on, let me see if by chance I can gather that link for you and post it in here. I can do this. Just give me a minute and I'll get the link to it. And you have the option of getting a set with the reflectors or without. So if you live in a place that you get a lot of sun, you live in Texas or, Mississippi or whatever, you probably would never need the reflectors. Okay, I'm just waiting for this thing to open. Everything's very slow, especially because I'm trying to do a live show. But, come on, open up. Oh, well. I'll post it as soon as this ever opens up, and then I can copy the link over, and it's coming. My computer's so old. I love this laptop, though. I really don't want to get rid of it. We bought a new one, and I still won't use it. I like this one, even as slow as it's getting. So, but you can build your own solar oven, Tessie. I would look into, there's a lot of, you could find YouTube videos on how to build your own solar oven. And with something as simple as a cardboard box. Okay, so I'm fine. It should be right here. Hang on just a minute. Come on, copy for me. And I am, just so you know, to be totally upfront with you. I am an affiliate for Solarvore. So, whoops, I got a colon in there. Okay. So here's the link right there in the chat, and I'll try to remember to put it in the description box when I'm done. So yeah, that'll take you to your different options. So I did put a video out on the Solarvore solar oven, specifically on that, and the unboxing of the new one. And I've never tried the sun oven. I know it's supposed to be a really good one too. I think Null, I think he has both, and he likes them for different reasons. Just for the Solarvore, B-Lady. So, yeah, I'm just, just to be honest, I am an affiliate. So, if you buy through my link, that helps us out. So, I get some revenue off of that when people buy from my link. That goes for pretty much any link that's posted below. I get some kind of revenue from that. But that doesn't mean that if you have I still encourage people to look for better deals elsewhere. If you can find a better deal, like let's say I posted the coconut aminos or my favorite pasta, which is the Montebello pasta. Sometimes I have to buy it on Amazon because I cannot. I've even asked for it to be sold here, but our store cannot carry it. But it is a great organic pasta that you could probably find much cheaper if you have a health food store near you. Amazon is not the cheapest place to buy it, so I recommend looking locally first for a lot of the stuff before you go through Amazon. Now, if you're like me and you're trying to find these specific things, and a lot of times Amazon is your only choice. So, then yeah, please use my links to do that. But yeah, I mean, save yourself money if you can. No reason to go to spend more money just in order to help me out. Seriously, that even came out funny because I'm not begging here. I'm just letting you know. It's just one way. If you already shop on Amazon or you have to shop on Amazon, it's just one way that you can support our channel that's not going to cost you any more money. You don't pay more money to buy it through Amazon if you're already going to buy it through Amazon. But again, if you can get it cheaper somewhere else, please go for it. We're not, one thing about living so remotely is we are not blessed to have like a Trader Joe's or anything like that near us. Now, in the next town over that we rarely get into, but we do sometimes go, there is a health food store that I absolutely adore, and when I get in there, I'll buy my stuff there when I can, and it's locally owned, and I love that store. But even that place isn't near as cheap as like a Trader Joe's, but we don't have anything like that anywhere near us. We'd have to go over to the Seattle area to get to find a place like that. So anyway, yeah. So let me see what else. There was something else I was gonna talk about. Oh, okay. Let me check. Are there any more questions about either Nettle or how to use it? I feel like I'm leaving something out about the Nettle. Oh, I was going to talk about more ways I wanted to use it. I do want to start using it in teas more. And as I said, I dehydrate it and mix it into my mixed grains blend that goes in almost every meal that I make. But I think I'm going to, after what I've been finding, I might either just dehydrate a bunch and keep it separate, or just put it in my special herbal tea blend. I have an herbal tea blend of things that I grow in my garden, which includes the peppermint and the dandelion flowers. I'll put a little bit of yarrow in there, but I don't put too much. You have to be a little bit careful about, from what I understand, I'm still learning, about ingesting too much yarrow. You can ingest it, it makes a great tea, and it's supposed to be relaxing and soothing, but apparently you got to be a little careful not to get too much. But the flowers in particular, I think, are really good for the tea. But yarrow is another topic. But really, yarrow, look into growing that. The flowers are a natural insect repellent, like for especially mosquitoes. They'll help keep mosquitoes away. So, oh, my chat is half hidden again. So let's see here. Okay, and then I want to just start cooking with the nettle a lot more, like I did with the mac and cheese. Start adding it into more meals and eating it as fresh as I can. Obviously, though some people do actually eat nettle fresh. There's a special way you can roll it up and then just eat it and not get stung. But I might try it eventually. I'm pretty brave in some ways, and I think I might give it a try, but it is kind of scary. So you just got to know which way to roll it. It's the bottom of the leaves, I believe, that has the stingers. And they're just little tiny needles that actually inject the chemicals into your skin. That's what stings you. And they're on the bottom of the leaves and I think on the stem. I think on the stem. I should know. I just go out there with my rubber gloves and just, pick them. So you can juice it, Quake Lake. Good question. I was just reading that. In fact, in this book here, they recommend, the juice being the most powerful form. So that would tell me raw you're gonna get the best in its raw form. But you can tincture it, make your infusion out of it, cook with it. It's kind of like hosta. Hosta is something else. I don't know how medicinal hostas are, but a lot of people don't realize hostas are edible. You can, if you're growing hostas for their beauty, realize that you can take those, especially the young little curled up leaves when they come up, and you can stir fry them. And apparently I tried one once and I didn't, but it was just one. And because my hostas are really tiny and I'm not even sure if they're going to come back this year. But apparently it tastes somewhat like asparagus. Sorry, Sullivan family. This one, and I've linked to this below. This is a set, actually. There's 2 books in a set. This is volume 1. I have volume 2 as well. And you can find this on, the best price I found, looking for it, was on Amazon in the specific links that I put below, assuming it's still available. These I bought used, but when they say used, it's like brand new, and I don't know where it's used at all, but it was $60 a book, so $120 for the set. So it's definitely more expensive for this. So if you're just getting started in buying medicinal herb books, these are the 2 I recommend for price and and what they contain. And that's Rosemary Gladstar's Herbal Medicinal Herbs, and then the Prepper's Natural Medicine. And these are both on Amazon and linked in the description box. So, and that's where I bought all these, was on Amazon. Not that you can't probably find them used. If you have a good used bookstore or do a lot of garage sale and stuff, you might be able to find them used. I wouldn't, not try looking for those. So, hi, Suburban Hillbilly. I would think so, Suburban. Into capsules, yes. Okay, what? Okay, so bee lady. Okay, I'm trying to get your question here. What? Okay, so when you make teas, etc., the picks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It neutralizes the little needles are still there. It can still be pokey, but so if you watch when I was dehydrating the nettle, and when I do this, I can still feel the pokiness of the needles. However, it neutralizes, anytime it's been cooked or heated in any way, it neutralizes the venom, as some call it, so that it doesn't sting you. You just feel the little pokes, they're almost like little teeny tiny thorns, and that's about it. So, but they're worth it. Yes, but they're worth it. Yes. But I still say start with something, and don't forget, like one really good herb book I got at a garage sale for like 50 cents. So don't bypass garage sales. You can find good books at those too. It's just hitting the right garage sale, because that one where I found the medicinal herbs, and it was like, this one like goes back to the 70s. They had a lot of other books that were like right, kind of politically based ones and stuff that were like right on my wavelength. I'm like, whoa, these people, they must think like me. So, okay. And yes, T, if you're still talking about the nettle, yes. And I believe I did answer that. I believe you could grow them in a bucket. Well, I think that's what you asked. Stone crop. No, I've never even heard of that, unless I know it by a different name. One thing I found is that people around the country have different names for different, for some of the plants. Hey, Cog Hill Farm. I didn't know you were in here. Good to see you. Yeah, Coghill grows the nettle too. I think he said he uses it for a more of a compost. And that's something too. A lot of your herbs, like such as the borage, I talk about the borage a lot. Borage is such. I got to do another show just on borage because it grows fast and it gets huge, and it has so many medicinal uses. I believe the chickens would love it. It tastes like cucumber. The flowers are great in salad. Um, but you can also, if it starts getting too big, just hack it down. I just take a big old knife and I just hack it down and just let it fall to the ground as a nice little mulch layer. It makes a good green mulch. And I just do that. I'll do that with dandelion plantain too. When the dandelions just get a little too thick and I'm not keeping up on them because I'm harvesting other things, I just hack them or break them off and just throw them on the ground and just kind of layer it on top and all around my vegetables. So, and you're just getting and then all those good nutrients and minerals are going into the soil and feeding your plants. So there's me talking about garden stuff. So, I've never had chicory coffee. A class on making different teas. Okay. And it's funny because I just put stuff together. I just throw stuff together. It's kind of like this. It was actually a little bit of tea left over from last night where I had cinnamon, cloves, and orange peel and ginger. And so I took the rest of that, added more water to it, and threw in some dandelion root, some fresh pansy flowers, and what I say, and dandelion leaves, some dried dandelion leaves from my garden last year. Because it's supposed, it's supposed to help soothe the throat. So, I talk, my throat, yeah. Good grief, it's already been over an hour. Did I even get to all the topics? Oh, I know one thing I wanted to mention is, okay, some people have noticed, but surprisingly, a lot of people have not noticed that I changed my name. So, how many of you can realize what what it is in my name that I've changed? And I wanted to explain why I did that. Of course, it'll take a while before you hear what I just said, and then I get to read your responses. It's just funny because I think only 2 people have noticed. Some people probably already knew because I posted on Facebook. I was asking what people thought about me changing my name, my channel name, and I've been thinking about it for a while. Okay, so I shortened it, and I have several reasons why. And one reason was I just wanted to keep it simple. I didn't like how long it was. Another reason why, this was actually more of just a side, benefit that I realized by changing my name, is that now I don't have to put so much into my little tags that I make for the skirts and aprons and all that I make. It's a lot less going into that. I can whip those things out a lot faster. But on a more serious note, one of the reasons I took Homestead off the name is because I don't want to limit myself to one thing. And because I do videos on all kinds of stuff, how to sew. I mean, I know that plays into being a homestead. I know that's why I had the name to begin with, because it's about being self-sufficient. But I'm afraid that it really just kind of limited me, and I didn't want to be limited. But I liked rain country. I liked being called Rain. I still like it, and so I wanted to keep that. I was afraid it might be too nondescript, just saying rain country, but I'm liking it. And then the other reason why, and this one wasn't the main reason really, but it was just another reason, is there sure seems to be a lot of arguments and a lot of opinions on what is and is not a homestead. And I thought, why not just take it off of there and not have to be a part of the argument? Because I know what the dictionary says, and it's pretty cut and dry. But some people kind of get a little bit offended if you call yourself a homestead if they don't see you as one. And I know it's really, I honestly believe it's according to the definitions I've read, you know, it's about, okay, the dictionary is simple. If you have a home, that's a homestead. Okay, we can expand on that, but you could keep it that simple if you wanted. So that means everybody that has a home, a house, and some land is a homestead. Now, whether or not they use it in the form of a homestead in the way that most people think is, well, that's another issue. However, anyway, there we go. Now I don't have to worry about being a part of that. So just keeps it simple. All right, but mostly, yeah, I like the idea of just not feeling pigeonholed into just one area. And I remembered what the other thing was. I want to show you guys. So I literally shipped off 5 orders yesterday for skirts, aprons, and some other sewn things. And one of the things, the last thing I finished, I did finish another order yesterday, but this didn't go out in the mail. But one of the things I finished, I have to show you, is a goat apron. I don't know if you can tell in the picture, but the print on there is all a bunch of goats. So I had a request for a goat apron. So I'm calling it a goat lover's apron. And I do have a, knock it off, guys. Knock it off. I do have enough fabric to make one more like this, and then I have enough fabric that I could do one similar using maybe the goat print fabric in a different way. But yeah, so I thought it was kind of fun. It's always fun when somebody gives me an idea and then I can just roll with it. I was told goat apron, and when I asked about any specific colors, I was told pretty. So as you can imagine, it was a guy that asked for it. So pretty was was the answer I got when I asked for colors. Well, considering this was the best goat print I could find, it was sort of hard to find a nice goat print. And it didn't have a lot of what some people would consider pretty colors, though I love brown and gray myself. I decided I wanted to go with the colors to match the apron, and so hopefully that is pretty. And thank you, bee lady. So anyway, that's the goat lover's apron. There we go. So okay, so every year when I file my taxes, I qualify for a homestead tax credit. I live in the city. Oh, very cool, Kathleen. So I need to look into that. That would really be interested. Flagged, that is a term. What did I miss here? Even if homestead is not in the name, it could be tagged. Oh, yes. And so what I'm doing is I'm adding to my videos, so people who are trying to do a search for homestead type stuff can still find me. So I'm adding the homestead tag to the tags of my videos themselves, so that yeah, right, Sodbuster. So okay, I want to catch up because it looks like there's some really good talk in here about what I was just saying. So that makes sense. Yeah, 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 and to be honest, when I first decided on the name, I was really having a hard time with it because I knew before I got my channel going that there would be issue and with it, because I knew there were so many schools of thought, because I'd already been following all these homesteading based channels for a long time, and I already had been seeing the arguments, and everybody has their opinion, and that's cool. If you are a big homestead and you have several acres of land, unlike us that live in the city, it seems weird calling it a city, but it is a city. It's just a very, very small one. We live in a neighborhood on a 3-acre lot, and I can understand if you have a bigger area, you have 5, 10, 40 acres, and you're working really hard on it. It may seem almost like a slap in the face for someone as small scale as I am to call myself a homestead. And I get that, I would probably Oh, I don't know. I don't think I'd have a problem with it if somebody smaller called themselves a homestead, as long as they were doing everything they could to be self-sufficient and all that. And yeah, whatever. It's your right. Call yourself what you want. Whatever. But anyway, I'm just saying, I can kind of understand that. If they put a lot of work into it and yeah. But I tell you, I work a lot. Even in our little small space, I am working all the time. In fact, with all my sewing orders and stuff, which that is a part of it, selling textiles was part of the dictionary definition. Um, I am selling a lot of homemade goods, and that's what's been taking up a good part of my time, plus trying to keep up on my garden and the planting and the harvesting and the making things from scratch, and then now the chicks. And so yeah, I'm working all the time, and unfortunately have not had a lot of time to do my off-grid laundry system. But I am so grateful that I have an electric washing machine that is plugged into our solar power. So I'm still not using power to run our washing machine. But I do love my off-grid system, and I promise one of these days, people, I really will get a video out if things ever, slow down, which there are things that will slow down that will make it easier for me to start getting back into using the off-grid system, because I actually love it. I love using the old antique agitator and the big tubs that Pat built. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen our off-grid laundry system that Pat put together, you got to go check it out. So I tried to rearrange my my off-grid living type list so that the mop bucket method, which was just, we were just trying it out. That was just a trial thing. That is not our off-grid laundry system. Trust me. But that one was first, so everybody's still thinking that that's what I do is the mop bucket. Nope. Nope. Which was cool. It was fun to try, but that's not as good as the method I have now. Using some antique stuff that I got on eBay. Okay, so if I did not have Homestead in my name, I would lose my identity. Yeah, I get that. And my Facebook page is still Rain Country Homestead because they won't let me change. They won't let me take Homestead off of it because it's too nondescript. I could put Rain Country Home Frugal and Healthy Living or something like that, but I don't want it to be that long. So I might just leave that, mostly for the sake of the channel. I wanted to change the channel name. And that kind of helps me to expand. Great. The dogs have been in and out with their muddy paws. I shouldn't have left the door open. But that's kind of the way it is. I need to get rid of this carpet. And, between the dogs and the rain, it's constant mud out there. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to catch up on some stuff that's being said and see if there's anything any questions I need to catch up on, or maybe even some just cool points people are making. Okay. I know there was some other things. Well, yeah, it sure seems like everybody's chit-chatting. It looks like my feed has been hanging on a lot better today than last time. I haven't seen anybody complaining. I mean, I didn't mean that to sound bad, like a bunch of whiners. I didn't mean it that way, but I don't see anybody talking about it buffering, so it must still be doing good. So great. That was weird last week. And okay, now really, seriously. So last week when that started, if I remember correctly, it was when I got on the soapbox about Big Pharma. Yeah. You kind of wonder. Nah, probably not. It was probably just a coinky-dink, but who knows? Anyway, I really should get off here though, because it's already 10 afternoon here my time, and I have a crud load of stuff I got to get done and deal with some more muddy footprints on my floor. And I think I should probably go ahead and build a fire. And yes, it is May 3rd, and I think I'm still going to have to build a fire. I had a fire going all day yesterday, and I don't build fires on the days I do my live shows because I get too wound up and then I get too warm. But it's too wet to hang my laundry outside, and it's a little too cold for me to expect my clothes hanging over here by my cold fireplace to get dry. So I think I'm going to have to. See, now I'm buffering bad now. Now why is it? I just mentioned big farm and suddenly I get on the soapbox and then the buffering starts. Could it be a kawiki ding? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I really am going to go, and I guess now's a good time. Buffering anyway, and thanks all for coming in and for behaving yourselves and all the good input and the questions, and I'm sure I missed a bunch of questions, and I'm sorry. Hopefully I can catch up on them next week. Don't be afraid to ask them again next week, even if it's totally off topic. I won't mind. I promise. Okay. Thanks all, and we'll hopefully see you next week and maybe this weekend if Mr. Rain and I actually get to go on. So, bye.